Alright, this is the going to be the yellow palmer, which is another good Southern Appalachian fly. This particular one is tied on a size 12 dry fly hook, and I'm using yellow thread, so I will get that started. And then the tail, most of the recipes that I have seen for the yellow palmer involves using a deer hair tail, but usually they go with natural. I happen to have some deer hair that's been dyed yellow, so I'm going to use that as the tail, and I will select a few fibers. And so I've got about that much. That'd be a nice thick tail. And using a hair stacker, the tail fibers are put pointy tip down. And then when you tap this on your knee or on the table, it evens them up. And then in order to take them out, hold it parallel, and for the most part, we got one turned upside down in there. That's good enough. So there we goes the tail, and I am going to, hopefully the tail is going to be about half as long as the body. We'll tie the tail in there. A couple of loose wraps over, pulling, adding pressure as you go up, but not as you go down, will keep you from chasing the hair around the hook shank. So that sort of keeps it locked in on the top. And then I will trim off the excess. Alright, I have seen the yellow palmer tied with just one hackle feather with either grizzly or brown. We are going to use both. I've seen recipes that calls for grizzly and brown, and just like the Adams dry fly, that just, I think, makes it look buggier. So I have selected it's actually a hackle feather from a saddle that I've already tied, I think, 3 flies with this one. And I am going to tie the brown hackle in first, and then I have what's left of a grizzly saddle. I might get 2 more flies out of that one. So I'm going to trim it up on the stem, and then cut those a little bit, and then tie that in. I guess I cut that a little bit more right there. Alright, so tie that in, and then for the body on a yellow palmer, just like with an orange palmer, the choices are usually either some type of yarn or yellow dubbing, and I am going to choose to go with yarn. I've got some polypro yarn, and it's golden yellow color, and it's floating. Many of the recipes for the yellow palmer call for using light yellow dubbing. I just want a brighter fly than that. As this stuff comes off the card, it's pretty thick, a little too thick for my taste, so that's the thickness of it. I'm going to cut off a section and then basically separate down the middle as much as possible, and then I will pull these 2 apart. So I end up with a little less bulky tying material, and then I'm going to tie the yarn in at the back. A lot of people just use black thread for these. I like to use yellow when I'm tying a yellow palmer and orange with the orange palmer. I don't think it would make a big difference. It's just a habit. And step one is going to be wrapping the body material forward. It's already built up with thread in the back, so I don't really overlap, but as I get closer to the eye, I'll overlap slightly, sort of keep a fairly uniform body, and about right there we'll tie off. And trim. Alright, I like to tie the brown hackle in first, and as I wrap it forward, I leave a space, and of course the grizzly hackle will be going in that space. I'll cut it off there. And trim. I'm going to wrap a little bit more. Make sure I get that stem wrapped in good. And then, so we don't go anywhere, good time for a half hitch. Alright, and now it's time to wrap the grizzly hackle forward. And tie it off. Once that is tied in and trimmed, the last step involves, sorry about the kicking the camera, last step involves the whip finish. And a dab of head cement will finish up our yellow palmer.